Okay, we have our next terrific guest here at the Clinton Global Initiatives here at New York Climate Week. And I'm pleased to meet Kirsten Dunlop, who is from Climate KIC. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and what is Climate KIC.
Thank you very much, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here. Climate KIC is an organization that specializes in climate innovation. We're Europe's foremost climate innovation initiative. We work on mitigation and adaptation, and we've been around since 2010, so it's now coming on for 12, 13 years. I am the CEO. I joined at the beginning of 2017. I have a background in helping very large listed businesses transform and in teaching people to understand history, particularly the history of European cities, and looking at the relationships between the way they were built and what they were built to shape in the sense of identity and purpose in their citizens.
Right. That's a very interesting conversation that we can't fully have right now, but it's actually quite a teasing topic. So yeah, very interesting indeed. Tell us a little bit why you're here at the Clinton Global Initiatives. The people are here making commitments. What is your commitment here?
Our commitment is to transform hundreds of cities and regions in Europe by 2030 within the context of the European missions. We're leading the European mission on climate, on cities, city transformation with the Net Zero Cities pilot, and we're also involved in the pilot initiative on the adaptation mission. And what that means is really helping cities and regions step up to a bar which is much more in line with what we really need to tackle climate change, and not as a set of individual, sectored, siloed initiatives, but the whole place, the context, and that matters enormously because it provides precedent. If 112 European cities decarbonise by 2030, that creates a signal, it creates demonstrations of possibility, it creates a sense of this is doable. We can do it in these terms, we can do it in the whole city, and we can do it in time. And that opens up possibilities for others to follow. And the same thing with regions. 150 regions getting to resilience by 2030 at a time when people are beginning to understand what climate change effects mean and the consequences of that.
Yes. I mean, I think you and I have probably both been in this area for a very long time. It seems almost unbelievable that it's really only now that really it's going massively mainstream in people's consciousness, not least with the energy price right now. My heavens, if only we'd move further and faster on renewable energy, we could be waving goodbye to some of Moscow's more aggressive plans towards the European nations. Yeah,
I think it is true. And on the other hand, we don't have time for the benefit of hindsight. We have to act. We have windows of opportunity, and that's really what we're seeking to embrace. We're also, I was listening to President Clinton this morning referring to the fact that this whole initiative is in the how business. And the other thing that we're committing to is building a coalition of funders and implementing organizations to create systemic climate action, because we are naming more and more that we need to do this in joined up ways, that it can't be individual things, it has to be whole systems change, whole human societal change. But it's very hard at the moment to actually get that to happen. The orchestration of that, the convening of that, the financing of that is not yet there. So one of our commitments is to catalyze that order of step up, a coalition with the same kind of scope of ambition to the Gavi Coalition for vaccines, a bold global commitment to collective action.
Tomorrow on the show we're going to have Earth for All, which is this new report from the Club of Rome, or coordinated by the Club of Rome. We had them on a show in June as well, a Stockholm Plus 50 show that we were broadcasting from Stockholm. And that's really interesting about the systems change that's needed. And I think that the one thing they pointed out in the report is that none of this will happen without strong government, strong states, really committed with their policies to get behind everything that the private sector are doing and local authorities and blah, blah. Yeah.
Indeed. I mean, one of the things I think becomes very evident when you are working at the scale of an entire city is that this is about public and private value creation. And it's the same with regions. You are talking about the importance of protecting commons, of working out how to create shared participatory value and shared ownership in those commons, but not only in this generation, across generations. So it's absolutely essential that we work out practically how do you achieve an economic transition that also is about embracing very different economic models.
Absolutely. Do you think climate change is solvable? Do you think that we can do it?
Yes, I think it is about, yes, I think it's solvable. It is about it is about transforming ourselves. And that, I think, is probably one of the most uncomfortable elements. It is about fundamentally transforming our design for life. And we created that design. We made it, we built it, we've invested in it, we've advertised around it, we've narrated it. We can remake it, we can unmake it, we can reshape it. I think it is essential that we start to narrate and we start to demonstrate. That's why the European missions matter so much. What the alternatives look like, not just what we have to stop, but what are we aspiring to do? What do we want to move towards? What does a just, a beautiful, a resilient, sustainable, ecological way of living look like in all of its myriad of variations? That's really what I think will help us solve for this, in addition to the many, many, many solutions that we have, and above all, combining those solutions.
And it should be exciting. It shouldn't be, I think some people get nervous, about change, particularly those of maybe a slightly older generation. But it should be exciting. I mean, this should be an amazing ride, right, to actually completely decarbonize the global economy, create beautiful cities, a new way of living and working, and that's why I get optimistic about it. And I think that the generation coming through knows about the risks more than perhaps the previous generation, but also knows about the opportunities. So.
Yeah, it's the challenge and the opportunity of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And it's that energy, that maker energy of making a new world come about.
Yeah. So We Don't Have Time, we have a little system here for sort of rewarding people for doing good things. We also have a system whereby on the social media platform of, say, 75,000 organizations and people, they also sometimes send climate warnings to people for doing the wrong thing. But here we're going to talk about doing the right thing. It's called Climate Love. And I'm going to give you the Climate Love symbol to hold up, which will be on the WeDon'tHaveTime.org platform. Who would you like to give Climate Love to?
I would love to give Climate Love to people working in cities, in the cities that we are engaging with all over the world, but particularly a group of people in European cities who have had the courage to sign up to do something that they do not know how to do. And that's people like Santiago Saura or Juan Ajarete in Madrid, Mohamed Ridwani and Katrien Rijken in Leuven, individuals like Marieke van Doornink in Amsterdam, or Piotr Maslovsky in Rybnik. These are people who are coming to work every day. They are signing their cities up to do something which is unprecedented, which will extend beyond their lifetimes, which is very much in the category of a courage to act beyond the limits of what we know to do, what we know how to do. And it's in that space of the commitments to where we need to get to, even though where we are now has a colossal gap. Their courage, their humility, their curiosity, and their personal commitment to make something happen beyond their own lifetimes, that's extraordinary.
Okay, good. I hope everyone out there has heard those names of those wonderful people in those wonderful cities making a difference. And thank you very much indeed for being with us.
That's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay.